Okay, so we're on video 4 out of 5, and for this one, we're shooting this all in one day. So I'm just inviting you here into the studio with Sean and I. He's behind the counter. He's also having some tea. And we have about an hour and a half to get this and the next one done before we have to go pick up the kids. So I'm gonna be a little bit more casual. I got my notes in front of me, and we're just gonna hang out and have a conversation about, now that we've gotten to this point, what do I do next? And you might be thinking the same thing, like, how do I actually get involved? This has been really great theory and a great introduction, and you've given me the ecosystem map, but like, what do I do next? And I felt the same way when I first started learning about employee ownership, and a lot of people who have reached out to me over the last couple of years have also felt the same, so you're not alone. The good news is you do not have to quit your job right now or start a co-op, although, I mean, you could if you're that far along and you're ready to dive in. But there are lots of ways to contribute, and most of them start small and incremental and exactly where you are. When I first started learning more about the employee ownership space, I had a couple of early concerns. You might have some anxiety about some of these questions, and so right off the bat, we're going to talk about them. Number one, I was even thinking 5 years ago, am I too late to be part of the movement? Because it's kind of exciting to be part of a movement that's building and growing. There's often a lot more opportunity, there are more ways to get involved, and I just have to say, even after 5 years, the employee ownership community is a pretty small community still. And it is a growing movement, but it's going to be growing for a long time. There's a lot of promise and a lot of opportunity, and we're still sort of in that on-ramp stage. So I just want to let you know, like, you are not too late to be part of something really exciting and to be early in continuing to build this movement. The sooner you get involved, the more involved you'll be. So come and join me on it. It's a really exciting journey. I think everyone who comes to this space has come from a different place. And as I said in an earlier video, as soon as they got involved and really dug in, they're hooked, they're sold. It's a really inviting community. There are a lot of people that are willing to share knowledge, and yeah, there's lots of space. So come on in. Another concern I had was when I started learning about employee ownership, I found I had to get through this like very technical understanding of the different forms of employee ownership and who the players are and what the need is and the levers for change. And I just want to let you know, you do not have to be a lawyer or an economist or a researcher to be involved with an employee ownership. You might have to suffer through some really dry presentations, at least until Sean and I make better ones. Should I edit that out or keep that in? We're here kind of as interpreters for this movement because so much of this knowledge about employee ownership is kind of stuck in these places of like what I like to call webinars and white papers, halls of academic, lots of research, Senate hearings that you might just like roll your eyes if you think about having to sit through an hour-long political briefing. But no, you don't have to like dive into the technical aspects. If you are a creator, if you are a storyteller, if you are a human services, social services, workforce person, there's some basics that you need to understand. And if you want me to break it down for you in normal human language, please just let me know. And I think we have some plans to do that. But you don't have to get so technical. You just start with where you are, and everyone is willing to help out along the way. I am still learning about some of the areas of finance. I do not even scratch the surface on some of that knowledge, but that's okay because I'm in my lane over here as an awareness builder, as an ecosystem builder, as a supporter of a lot of these organizations. And that brings me to my next point. Like, there's no one right way to get involved. It's just like anything. I mean, I come from a place of workforce development, talent development, and it's like any of those things. It's like, think about your transferable skills. What do you have that you can contribute to the space? What is needed in the space? And that's where you can start. Like I said before, most people stumbled into this space. I don't think any of us majored in it. I don't actually even know if you can major in employee ownership yet. Maybe that's a space for you. Maybe you're somebody in an academic institution that wants to start a program on employee ownership specifically. Maybe those exist and I need to learn more about them. But there's no one right way to get involved. Think about what is needed. And right now the biggest needs are Awareness building. So how can you build awareness about employee ownership with wherever you are or in your community? There's a need and there's a big effort right now to work on expanding policy around policy and incentives in employee ownership in the policy space. So if you're a politics minded person, there are ways to get involved, and I'm happy to connect you with those people that like to go to Washington, D.C., which is where I don't like to be. Or the other way is really kind of expanding the technical service provider field as well. There's like a lot of work that needs to be done in the world of finance and technical service people. I mean, CPAs, there's trainings and things for that. So there's a lot of places where we need to build sort of the service economy to support businesses in adopting employee ownership as a strategy. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that I have for you that you can take action based on sort of where you find yourself on your journey. The first one is just to keep learning. Learn as much as you can. Dive down whatever rabbit hole you find most interesting right now and just go for it. There are courses that you could take. Let's see, looks like NCEO, Rutgers have courses and things that you can take to learn about employee ownership. If you're in the finance space, if you're a CPA or an exit planner, Project Equity just launched a course for exit planners that helps you incorporate employee ownership as part of your advising practice. So when you think about getting your CE credits and that sort of thing, that could be a good place for you to go. Another way to learn is to follow ecosystem leaders and other voices that are talking about employee ownership. If you don't know how to get connected to them, if you just follow me and engage with me in my comments, I interact with a lot of them. I am not the only connection to these spaces. So just start finding who are the people in your spaces that are talking about employee ownership and begin engaging with them in that dialogue. You can see if your state has a state center of employee ownership. I'm here in Tennessee. We have a Tennessee State Center. About half the states in the United States have a nonprofit state center of employee ownership whose mission is to expand awareness about employee ownership and serve the business community. And they have events and they have webinars, they have ways to get involved. You can consider serving on the board or volunteering your time at an event. It's a great way to get to know this community. All right, number 2, share. As you learn about employee ownership, just start talking about it to people. Tell people what you're interested in. Bring it up in conversations. Talk about it at dinner parties. Repost stories that you see. Try to explain the basics to others. When you start trying to explain employee ownership, believe me, you will figure out very quickly where your knowledge gaps are, and then you can go and learn that, and then you'll be a better spokesperson. And so just share about employee ownership. Number 3, think about how to connect employee ownership to your work or your interests. Or if you work in a place that's totally not connected to employee ownership, I would challenge you to find the connection because it's probably there. But also think about how you can connect your local communities to this broader ownership economy. There are a couple of different playbooks and guides, like the municipal playbook for worker ownership. I'm also working on a workforce playbook for worker ownership. If you want to hear more about that, let me know. But that's to connect the workforce ecosystem to the employee ownership ecosystem. And there are other folks that are in different places, right? The care economy and the childcare crisis, they're working on connecting their work to employee ownership and seeing employee ownership as a tool for building better jobs in like care roles. And so there are many, many, many ways. And if you want to do a deep dive on that, I'm thinking about launching some office hours so you can join me for those, and I'll help get you connected to resources in your specific space. All right, number 4, you can support the movement, and support takes many different forms. 1, I mentioned you can join or volunteer an organization. Many of these advocacy organizations and these field movement builder organizations are nonprofits, and they may be willing to use your time and your talents in a volunteer capacity or your expertise in your specific space to help build more of those bridges to the movement. There's also this great local advocacy toolkit by one of my friends, Andrea, created for if you want to get involved in your local economic development policy, in your own community, in your city, or in your state. There's a guide that Andrea wrote that can help you very practically provide these tools to go and attend those city council meetings and talk about bringing employee ownership to your community, whether that's through a legacy business retention campaign or other awareness building around like how this can build wealth for your community. And I'll link to that as well. And then if you're one of those people who has funds or stewards funds, you can fund a project or co-fund a project. There are many impact investing funds. Okay, maybe not many, at least 3 that I know of, and probably more. They're growing by the day. Investing funds where you can, if you're a ultra high net worth holder, like please get your money out of these donor advice funds where they're just sitting complacently, not impacting the community, and put them into more movement-oriented funds that get those funds out into the community. It's a big piece of what's needed to grow this space is more investment capital to help businesses transition from whatever structure they're in to an employee ownership, shared ownership model. Let's see. Yeah, if you got personal funds, if you want to fund a small project, I have many great organizations that I know about right here in my head that could use some of that funding. And so I could also help you. I am not a wealth advisor. My lane is not like grants advising or anything like that. But if you want a quick connection to somebody who does that or a quick recommendation, I'm happy to do that because I know some great organizations that are doing great work. And funding is always an area that they need support with. And lastly, number 5, you can build. You can be part of building this movement. You can launch a project. If you're a business owner, you can transition your business to shared ownership. And I'm going to do a whole video series just for you. But you could also start a co-op. You can develop tools and training. You can be part of the building movement. And if you want to chat about where that is needed most, I'd be happy to have that conversation with you. Okay. That tea is so good. So at the end of the day, whether you have 5 hours or 5 years to devote to this movement, there is a way that you can get started and something that you can contribute. If nothing else, share this video series that I'm putting together with somebody in your life that you think needs to know more about employee ownership. Or if you're thinking, I'm not ready for this, I got a baby on the way, or my schedule's totally full, I bet you know somebody who would be interested in learning more about it. So just share this so that other people can hear about this movement. And lastly, movements are built by people who show up before everything is polished. That's my story, and that could be your story. So please don't feel like you need to have everything figured out. This is your invitation to show up and not just be curious about the movement, but to start contributing to building it. And in my last video in this series, I'm going to be sharing more about my personal journey so that you can get an idea of how entering the employee ownership space plays out in real life. You'll learn a little bit more about what I'm working on, about sort of how this employee ownership movement connects with the broader workforce and good jobs movement, and kind of just this messy journey of how an artist and entrepreneur turned into a novice map maker for the employee ownership economy. So that's how I get started. That's coming up next. And thanks for joining me. This is all part of the beautiful, messy, complicated, daring journey of shifting our world towards building a better future for all of us. I'm gonna drink this tea now. I'll see you in a minute.